Are you preparing for a quality assurance interview? These 25 questions could be exactly what you will be asked during your interview, so make sure you know how to answer them before you walk into that interview. Welcome to the Quality Mentor. In this video, I will walk you through 25 essential quality assurance interview questions and answers and help you prepare for your interview with confidence. Hi, let's quickly talk about quality assurance interview questions and answers. Also, I want you to pay attention to the very last slide in this video because it contains a formula that is going to help you in passing or succeeding in your interview. So the very first question that they're going to ask you, which is obvious, is tell me about yourself. And here is a simple answer I gave. I'm a quality assurance professional with experience. You state the number of years in regulated manufacturing, laboratory environment, or wherever you have expertise in. You have a background in quality assurance, quality control, laboratory testing, process monitoring, GMP compliance, root cause analysis, and what have you. And also be able to tell your interviewer the various tools you've been able to use, such as Six Sigma framework, uh, the FME, that's the failure mode and effect analysis, the five whys, fishbone analysis, and other tools that you have used. Uh, you need to also tell your interviewer what are your objectives or what is your main aim as a quality assurance specialist. You can say you are particularly focused on maintaining compliance while helping organizations reduce defect, waste, and process variation. The next question that they're going to ask you is what is quality assurance? Quality assurance is a proactive process and it is process oriented, focuses on the process from start to finish, the process, how it goes to prevent defects before they occur. And you have to understand that you can equally give the various responsibilities of a quality assurance specialist, and such responsibilities include development of standard operating procedures. They do training, they perform audits, perform corrective actions and preventive actions. They implement change control, risk management, and maintain quality management systems. The next question that you can be asked is what is the difference between quality assurance and quality control? Many people confuse these terms thinking they are the same. They are not the same, but they work together to have a synergical effect or to produce a synergical effect or result. So quality assurance, it focuses primarily on the process. It prevents the defect before it happens, while quality control focuses on the product, testing finished products or raw materials before production even begins. That is what quality control is. So, in simple terms, quality assurance prevents while quality control detects. Full stop. Your next question could be what is a quality management system or QMS? It is a framework of policies, procedures, processes, responsibilities, records, and controls an organization uses consistently to meet quality requirements and continuous improvements. They can also ask you, what is CAPA? You could say CAPA stands for corrective actions and preventive actions, which is used to address existing problems while preventing actions intending to for any potential problem from occurring. So a strong CAPA process includes problem definition, containment, investigation, root cause analysis, action implementation, and effectiveness verification. Your next question is what is a root cause analysis? Root cause analysis is a structured approach used to identify the underlying cause of a problem rather than simply correcting the immediate symptom. And common tools used in performing a root cause analysis is a five why, fishbone diagram, Pareto analysis, and fault tree analysis. Your next question is explain the five why. The five why is simply a problem solving technique where You repeatedly ask the why question until you find the underlying cause of that problem to be addressed. It doesn't necessarily stop at the fifth or asking why the fifth time. No. So you can ask why even 100 times until you find the underlying cause of the problem. And that's when you stop. The next question is, what is FMEA? FMEA simply stands for Failure Mode and Effect Analysis, which is a proactive risk management tool used to identify potential failure modes, their effects, causes, existing control, and actions needed to reduce risks. So take note of that as a very short answer to say during your interview. The next question you could be asked is, what are the seven basic quality control tools? And you want to check our link in our bio to be able to look at a whole video that explains the seven quality control tools, which we have a check sheet, Pareto chart, fishbone diagram, histogram, scatter diagram, control chart, and a flow chart. You could be asked to explain what is statistical process control, which is a statistical method used to monitor process behavior over time. How does the system work? Is it promising? Is it showing you that there are going to be problems in the long run? So that statistical method is what we call a statistical process control, and it's a control chart that helps you identify unusual variations and distinguish potential uh, special cause variation from normal common cause variations. Your next question will come up in, what is GMP? GMP simply stands for Good Manufacturing Practice, which is a system of controls designed to ensure products are consistently manufactured and controlled according to established quality requirements. GMP covers areas such as personnel, facility, equipment, material, production, documentation, testing, and quality systems. Please take note, every quality assurance personnel or whoever is in the domain of quality, you need to 100% understand GMP. GMP understanding should be like a reflex action within your body, because failure to adhere to GMP procedures can lead to termination. Yes, it is a principle or a procedure that is strictly enforced and is never taken lightly, because failure to adhere to GMP can cause the company's reputation, can cause governmental fines, can destroy products, and cause a lot of damage, money, and resources, and whatever you have. So, understanding this as a quality assurance specialist is a key. Your next question is, what is GLP? GLP is good laboratory practice, which is a quality system governing how laboratory studies are planned, performed, monitored, recorded, reported, and achieved. GLP is emphasizing on data integrity, traceability, documentation, trained personnel, and reliability of equipment. So GLP is also just like GMP, but it is meant for laboratory technicians. So every laboratory technician needs to understand GLP as a reflex action. It needs to be understood 100%. Your next question could come from, what is an OOS result? OOS simply stands for out of specification result. And it occurs when a test result falls outside of an established specification or acceptance criteria. So they could ask you, how will you be able to solve uh, a problem when you have out of specification result? When you have discovered you have an out of specification result, what do? You say you will follow the approved investigation procedure, you document the result, assess the validity of the test process, investigate potential laboratory causes, and expand the investigation wherever appropriate. Good. So the next question will be, what would you do if you discovered a defective product? The first thing you will do You will follow the applicable procedure to contain and identify the affected product. You will document the non-conformance, that is the defective product, determine the potential scope of the defect. Is it a high risk? Is it high risk? Is it minor or is it major? You are going to then notify the appropriate personnel, which could be your supervisor, your manager, your director, or whoever is above you in your company. Your next question is, what will you do if production asks you to release a failed product? Good question. The first thing you will do is you will not release products simply because of production pressure. So no matter how production is putting pressure on you to release product, you don't need to release a product like that. But then you wouldn't also want to disagree with production because both you and production are trying to meet customer satisfaction, save time, save resources, and be able to generate income. So, what you will do is you will also ensure that the product is properly controlled, reviewed, uh, and also make sure that the applicable specifications and procedures are strictly followed before uh, releasing product. So a strong phase to remember here is that production urgency does not override quality requirements. So if a product has failed, then it has failed. It is not your fault, neither is anyone's fault. Instead, both you, the quality personnel, and the personnel from the Department of Production need to work together to be able to solve the problem. So it's not fighting together or disagreeing or whatever. Both need to work together to solve the problem. The next question you will be asked is, what will you do if you discovered an employee violating an SOP? SOP, we said it is standard operating procedure. You will say you address the situation according to the organization's procedure. There is always a procedure for all of that. You will first determine whether it is an immediate quality impact. You want to make sure that it doesn't impact the product. You want to contain the risks if necessary. You want to document it. Remember, documentation is key. If it wasn't documented, then it didn't happen. That is the quality rule. Notify your supervisor, the manager, or hierarchy. Determine whether training, investigation, or corrective actions is required. So, things when it comes to quality are not to be taken lightly. So, if you see an issue, you need to speak up because when you speak up, it is going to trigger an immediate response. The next question is, how do you handle conflict with production? Um, you're going to say you do not view quality assurance and production as opposing teams. Instead, you are all part of the production process together. And remember this, quality assurance or quality control or anything related to quality is not just for the technicians or the specialists alone. It's for everyone in the facility, even if it is HR, because HR, if they notice that maybe they're just walking around and they notice something happens, they're going to say something. And when they say something, it's going to trigger an investigation and an immediate response. I beg your pardon. And you can also say you will listen to production's concern, explain the quality requirements, review the objective data, assess the risks, and work collaboratively towards a compliant solution. Your next question is, how do you prioritize quality problems? First, you use a risk-based approach. And to use a risk-based approach, you need a tool, the failure mode and effect analysis tool, to be able to identify, because this tool is going to tell you if a problem is going to rank it based on severity, occurrence, and determination. Now, it's going to help you to know if it should be solved immediately or later on. And for that, once you have discovered that, it is going also to trigger you to use the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle, that is the 80-20 principle, it tells you which problem to solve first. So your answer will be, you use a risk-based approach, You consider severity, customer impact, regulatory impact, occurrence, detectability, scope, and the potential business impact. And the issues involving safety, compliance, or significant product risks receive immediate priority. Like I said, the Pareto principle, it tells you which problem to solve first. The next question you could be asked is, how do you ensure CAPA effectiveness? That's corrective actions and preventive actions. First, you establish objective effectiveness criteria before closing a CAPA. Then, you monitor the relevant process or quality matrix over an appropriate period to determine whether the problem has actually been reduced or eliminated. And also, you want to make sure that the problem does not reoccur by constantly monitoring the process. The next question will be, tell me about a quality problem you solved. Always use the STAR method. Situation is, what was the problem? The task, what were your responsibilities in solving that problem? And your action, what did you actually do in solving the problem? And result, what measurable improvement occurred? You need to use facts. You need to use facts and data. So if a problem was at the level of leaking tubes or broken bottles, you want to make sure that the problem maybe was at a level of 80%, and after you use a corrective action or method, it reduced to maybe 20%. So you have to use uh, examples, concrete examples. So an example here is, we're experiencing recurring packaging defects that were causing rework and delaying shipments. So you said you received the data, you use a check sheet and a Pareto analysis to determine the major defect categories. Remember, you use tools such as the fishbone, the five whys, to be able to evaluate the problem, and you state your corrective actions. And the result you had, the result was reduced, the reoccurrence of the defect was reduced, rework was reduced, and there was a lot of improvements with process consistency. That is a good response. The next question will be, tell me about the time you made a mistake. Of course, as a quality assurance personnel, there are times that you're going to make mistakes, but you're not going to stay there, because you are not a perfect person. You are not a robot. You are not AI. Even AI does mistakes sometimes. So you too, you can make mistakes. So your answer will be based on the fact that you will identify inconsistencies in a quality record and immediately stop to verify the information rather than making an assumption. So if you notice you made a mistake, if in terms of maybe recording your data, you notice something is inconsistent and there's an issue, immediately you have to stop, verify your information, verify whatever you're writing, rather than making an assumption. Anything that needs to be corrected needs to be followed by strict procedure. For example, documentation. There are good documentation practices that you need to follow to be able to correct any documentation problem. And also, you're going to say that you're going to reinforce the importance of accuracy, documentation, and data integrity in quality. Or for sure, once a mistake occurs, you need to report it. You need to report to your immediate supervisor or manager. It doesn't mean that you don't need to be scared. You don't need to be scared. Your manager or your supervisor, they are there to help you, support you. Not just you, but also to make sure that the problem isn't severe that will damage the company or destroy the company in terms of finances, in terms of reputation, in terms of governmental fines and penalties, and so on. Your next question will be, tell me about a time you improved a process. One, you identify a workflow that involved unnecessary manual steps and created opportunities for data entry errors. That is an example. You analyze the process, identify the bottlenecks, and work with the team to standardize and improve the workflow. Remember, you cannot improve a workflow without understanding the flow chart from a quality control as a quality control tool. The flow chart will help you to know how a process is done from start to finish or from A to Z. And also you're going to say that the result you got improve consistency and reduce unnecessary manual activity. Your next question could be, how do you handle pressure? Of course, as a quality personnel, especially quality assurance, you will face pressure. Pressure from production, pressure from all sides. You're going to have pressure. So how do you handle it? First, you remain focused on facts, requirements, and risks. You have to be focused no matter what. You equally have your family problems, social life, and whatever you have is going to pressure you. All of those can also affect your work, can also affect you. So you have to remain focused on the facts, requirements, and the risks. You have to understand that production schedules are important, but quality decisions need to be based on objective evidence. You need data to make decisions. And also you have to clearly communicate, work with other departments to find solutions without compromising established quality requirements. So even if you're pressured, you need to understand that you are not working all alone. If the workload is overwhelming, you need to communicate. Communicate to your supervisor. Maybe you need a break. Maybe you need a vacation. You know, maybe you need assistance. You need someone by you that could also help you do some of your work. Communicate that clearly to your supervisor, to your manager, your director, or whoever or whatever hierarchy you have. Work also with other departments. Other departments could step in to help you reduce your workload. And also, it's going to help you to make better quality decisions. They can also ask you, why should we hire you? Say that you bring a combination of hands-on on quality experience, analytical problem solving, regulatory awareness, and continuous improvement expertise. You are comfortable working with both technical and operational teams. You understand how to use tools such as Kappa, FMEA, RCA, SPC, and Six Sigma to solve problems. Most importantly, you can say that you understand that quality isn't just about finding defects, it is about preventing reoccurrence and improving processes. They can ask you, so here are 5 questions you must master before going in for your quality assurance interview. The first, tell me about yourself. What is quality assurance versus quality control? Tell me about a quality problem you solved. How do you handle conflicts with production? And what would you do if you were asked to release non-conforming products? Please master these 5 questions. Now, coming to the last slide, I give you a formula in answering your interview questions. Interview formula. For technical questions, define, explain, and give an example when you are having technical questions. For behavioral questions, use the STAR method: situation, the task, the action, and the result. STAR method. For problem solving questions, you use containment, investigation, root cause analysis, corrective actions, verify effectiveness, and control. This structure will make your answers sound much more like those of an experienced quality assurance specialist, engineer, or manager, rather than someone who has just merely memorized quality terminology. If you found this video useful and you loved it, like, comment, share, and follow the Quality Mentor for more practical and interview formula tips.